I had ambitious plans in the Gifford Pinchot this weekend. The Klickitat Trail number 7, not the one in the Columbia Gorge, but the 2,000-year-old trade route that connected Native Americans living on the east side of the Cascades to those in the Cowlitz Valley, has been calling my name for years. I've been curious about this trail, and the work party I went to on July 16th with the Orogenesis Collective has only made me more curious. I'll be talking about that work party in another video, but right now, let's talk about all the forces that conspired to keep me from reaching my goal. But before we move on, if you'd like to support informational content like this, navigate to patreon.com/voiceovertrails and choose a contribution level that feels right for you. See if I've got sound. It's 5:45 in the morning. I'm not a morning person, especially not during the summer. But here I am at the Klickitat trailhead. The plan was to meet my friend up here at the trailhead last night, and then we were gonna drive down over to the east side of the Klickitat Trail and then do the whole trail and come back out here. And it's like 16 miles, which is not very far, but 4,000 feet of climbing over 16 miles, which is a lot. Instead, I was up here alone last night, and I don't do well in the woods alone, so I didn't sleep very well. So I probably got like 3 hours of sleep last night, and now I'm deciding whether or not I'm gonna go to the Sispus Lookout or just tuck my tail between my legs and head back down and go over toward Walupt Lake or find some other ride. Now, I hope that my friend Mike, who was supposed to meet me, I'm hoping he's okay. I'm going to assume that he's all right. What I think happened is that he's driving an adventure van and he probably saw the road up here, which is awful. It's really a bad road. It's really washed out and there's not very much clearance, overhead clearance because of all the tree branches. And I don't think that you could get a two-wheel drive. I don't think you could get a four-wheel drive van up here safely, but I definitely don't think you could get a two-wheel drive van up here. It wouldn't be a good idea. And I think that maybe he saw it like way earlier in the day than I did, because I didn't get up here till like 8 o'clock last night, and turned around. So I hope that's what's going on. I would rather he did that than, me come across his van tipped over on the road. It's self-directed adventure today. I will be joining my other group of friends over at Walupt Lake Campground later today. And then tomorrow we're gonna do a few laps on Hamilton Buttes and maybe Yazoo, which I've done before, but I know that's awesome. The weather is gonna be stellar, like perfect. Tomorrow's weather, it's only supposed to get up into the upper 60s tomorrow up here in the mountains. Today is only supposed to be in the 70s. So I suppose, it's not always bad, right? So here we go, we're making lemonade from lemons. There's things to see, but there you go, look at that. All right, let's go get a view of Rainier. So too bad, it looks like I missed my opportunity to get a good shot of Rainier. It was beautiful, like literally 5 minutes ago, but that's so how this works when you're doing photography. And see, I'm just like on the side of a Forest Service road here. It's just like right here where there's this kind of landslide. And yeah, landslides and clear cuts. It's the only way you're ever gonna see something in the Pacific Northwest. Since I didn't have anything better to do, I figured I should head up to the top of Hamilton Buttes in my car to check out the road to the top ahead of time before my friends showed up the next day to shuttle it with me. That experience reminded me never to make assumptions. The road to the top of Hamilton Buttes is in far worse shape than I had anticipated, but the view from the top was epic. This was just supposed to be like a little side trip. I was just coming up here to do some reconnaissance, and that turned into a lot more than I expected. Probably a few hundred feet of climbing at least, up a road that just goes straight up the hill. But hey, there's Adams behind me. This is a 360-degree view, basically, at the top of Hamilton Peak. Hold on, sun's gonna make me sneeze. Oh, okay, not quite. Sometimes it does that. Anyhow, you can see there's Rainier. Goat Rock's behind me. Here, I'll flip the camera around in a second so you're not looking at me, but yeah, I'd say this view was worth it. It's awful though, the climb. This reminds me of Larch Mountain a little bit. Ah, look at that. Oh no. It's a little hazier than I'd like. It's all right. Gosh, gosh, I'm all the way at F29. Here, F20. Still, man, if there's even a little, look at the goat rocks. That's a good view of the goat rocks. That's probably the best view you're gonna get of the goat rocks unless you're actually in the goat rocks. Which this area is where people go to get to the goat rocks. Look at those. Look at that line of mountains there. Oh, and one other thing. I can actually see, I believe I see the cut for the Yazoo Trail over there. That right there, that is the cut for the Yazoo Trail that comes down. So it'll give you some perspective where that is. Right there is, I think, the saddle where it comes out. And then it just goes down into the valley. I thought the last road was bad, but this one's far worse, but it's the kind of worse where I'm not really willing to dangle a camera out the window while I try to drive it, because I need to do one thing at a time. Because this is sketch. Oh yeah, listen to those pinstripes I'm getting. So this was me descending the awful road that leads up to the top of Hamilton Peak, and it was thoroughly awful. I absolutely got my money's worth out of my all-wheel drive and all-terrain tires this day. The major takeaway here is that this is not really a great shuttle road, which is kind of disappointing. But it was only 9:30 in the morning, so I decided to head to the east trailhead of the Klickitat Trail to see if my friend Mike had accidentally parked at the wrong trailhead. And sure enough, I was right. Well, I found my friend's ProMaster, and he did not navigate to the coordinates I sent him. Instead, he just drove to this trailhead, which is the other side, which is why I didn't see him yesterday. So I see, what I do see are some tire tracks. So I bet he's up there. Hopefully he doesn't go like all the way over to the west side, like expecting to find me or something. That'd be bad. That would be very bad. Okay, this doesn't waste any time. Oh boy. 20%. Yeah, no. Wrong trailhead. Wrong trailhead.
Yeah, I thought that might have been the deal because I couldn't get your link to work.
It's not a link, it was just coordinates.
I know, I typed it in and stuff and it wouldn't do anything.
Weird. Well, I found Mike, but he needed to get back to Portland by 6, so we parted ways with the promise that we are going to revisit this ride in the future, probably the very near future. He warned me that the mosquitoes are apocalyptic up at the top of the ridge, and I opted not to verify his story. There's no need to suffer when others have already suffered for me. From there, I went to Walupt Lake, where my friends were camping out so that I could rest up for shuttles tomorrow morning. No, this is I want my GoPro on so that I can record this bad idea. So this is the adventure safari part of the ride.
I worry about the rear wheel as the bike hanging down the rack. Are we getting good enough clearance back there? I would stay way to the left.
Yeah, go to the left.
Way to the left. You have that one dippity dip there, but once you pass that, you would be golden. If you do the one on if you go way to the right, your back wheel will fall into that hole and you'll rip a bike apart.
How's it going? Oh yeah, this'll do. Not as hazy as it was yesterday.
Looks like it sucks coming up, but it's going to be a kick in the ass going down.
That's the idea.
You did take us to the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, the trail junction's way down there.
What's that?
The trail junction is way down there.
Oh, dude. I'm still happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good you didn't know, yeah.
Hour up and 5 minutes down on one of those.
Pretty much.
Yeah. There's a saying among photographers that the best camera is the one you have with you. I was at this same viewpoint one day ago with a much nicer camera, but the skies were so much clearer today that I got better video from my iPhone 13. Go figure. Anyhow, if you find yourself in the northeast side of the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, Hamilton Peak is probably the best viewpoint around. There just aren't that many 360-degree vistas quite like this. Furthermore, the descent from Hamilton Peak down Hamilton Buttes is absolutely not to be missed. I rode this trail last year, but it was October 2nd and there was plenty of moisture, so the experience was quite a bit different than this time. Hamilton Buttes is still a pretty awesome trail, even when it's so dry that the dirt is like moon dust and it gets into everything. But there's no doubt it's even better when it's gotten some moisture. As Dave pointed out when we got to the bottom, if we come back and ride this when it's a little bit wetter, someone's probably gonna get hurt, because this trail just has a certain type of flow and feature that it's sure to entice adrenaline-seeking riders to get themselves into lots of trouble. So ironically, the greatest chance of injury on a trail like this is probably not when the conditions are slick and dusty like this day, but when conditions are perfect. And perfect is a good descriptor for this trail. Dropping all its 2,800 feet over about 4 miles, this is just the ideal grade for a shreddable good time. It's not a technical double black by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also something that should be avoided by beginner riders. That said, any way that you can get up here, this is a trail that needs to be ridden. It's still a canonical trail after all. The Klickitat Trail was supposed to be the star of this video, but it just wasn't to be. At the very least, I was supposed to ride Yazoo in addition to Hamilton, but the shuttle situation just wasn't going to let that happen either. In the end, I got to spend the weekend with good friends. The weather was perfect, and I have the chance to reschedule this and hopefully include many more people in the next attempt. Plus, I got to walk around with my camera and take some pictures. I'd like to take this moment to thank all my Patreon supporters, especially my Loamy Goodness level sponsors Andy Sewery, Charles Kim, Damon Corey, and Randy Relithford. I'd also like to thank my Hero Dirt level sponsors earning their special mention at the end of this video: Bryce Ulrich, Dave PNW, Devin Young, Edward Lanton, Heather von Valkenburg, Jason Moore, and Pedro Cantarini. If you'd like to yazoo your way into this list of Dark Divide travelers, navigate to patreon.com/voiceovertrails and sign up to be a sponsor. Now, get out there and go ride your bike.